Hello and welcome to the Lyman Wolf podcast. I am your host, Raceland, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Nate. What's going on, bud?
Not much. Looking forward to this review.
Yeah, we've been going through all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies because our buddy Ty was the one who kind of got us into the franchise, and we've been going through it movie by movie because we've never seen these before. So these are all of our first times watching them. Overall, we're on number 5 now, Nate. Overall, what do you think of the franchise so far?
I like it. I'm not a big horror fan, but this is one of the better ones.
I agree. I'm not the biggest horror fan. There are a select few that I absolutely love, and this was one of them. This is one of them I'm actually having fun with. It is interesting to watch Freddy kill a bunch of people in the most crazy, bizarre ways.
Yeah.
And I that's what I like about this franchise. Like, the story is, let's be honest, the story's not, like, great. We all know it's a corny, kind of thrown together story, but we're here for the craziness that is these movies.
But the lore is so rich, Graceland.
And speaking of the lore, first of all, spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, it's pretty obvious. We're doing a review of it. Came out in 1989. You have time to watch it. But speaking of the lore, this movie definitely dives deeper into Freddy Krueger's lore.
Yeah.
I think so, at least.
No, it does. It expands upon what was previously mentioned in one of the other ones.
Right.
I think the third one, actually.
Was it the third one? After a while, they all kind of blend together.
I'm fairly certain it was the third one because that was the return of the first girl.
Was Alice in 3?
Yes, because who was Alice?
Alice was in 4. I know that.
Yeah, Alice is introduced in 4.
Okay.
The first girl I am blanking on. I want to say Nancy, but
Her
I'm
name's
not
Nancy.
positive. Is it? She was the first movie, and then we're introduced.
Died in 3.
Yeah, she comes back in the third movie, and then dies in the third movie.
Right. And that's when we get introduced to Alice as the new female lead in the 4th, and then continues in this one.
Yes. Nancy, in the third one, Nancy is the one who kind of learns of Freddy's origins.
That's
about
right.
how the nun, because she kept seeing an old nun wandering around.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah,
so
I get 3, 4, and 5 have kind of blended together. Like 2 stood out on its own as like it was the big standout of the franchise.
It was a complete new cast of characters.
Not only that, but it was a completely different take on Freddy as well.
Yes, whereas 1, 3, 4, and 5 are kind of passing the baton from character to character.
Right. So let's get into this podcast in this review, and let's start talking about the movie. So off the bat, what's your thoughts on the movie, Nate?
I liked it. It's actually probably one of my favorites of the franchise we've seen so far.
That's ironic, because I even have on my notes, this is my least favorite movie so far.
Really?
I am shocked that you like this one so much.
I mean, I'm not. Like, this is the Freddy I originally thought Freddy Krueger as. So, like, whenever Ty first got us into starting to watch these, this is the type of Freddy that I was expecting to see from, like, the first movie, but it's obviously not the case.
Right. I know some of the other movies that they had Freddy doing more crazy things. My good example of that, which one had the bug trap scene? Was that the 4th one?
Yes, that was the one previous.
I really liked that one. I love the kills in that movie versus this movie. The kills kind of seem really dumb.
So that's actually in my notes. We get glimpses of the Freddy from this movie in the previous movies, but like they were rare. The bug scene was a very outlandish death for the character. But everybody else in that movie, they didn't die outlandishly. They were pretty basic kills.
Yeah.
In the first movie, all of them were pretty basic kills except Johnny Depp's, which was just a fountain of blood.
Still the best kill in the entire franchise.
In the second movie, we didn't really get very many outstanding kills. They were just basic kills, even to the point where he just straight up becomes a straight up slasher.
Right.
And then the third movie, like the only one that really registered as like my favorite kill was the puppet kill.
Right. That's the first one I think of too.
Yeah. But again, that was the only one that stood out amongst all of those deaths. In this movie, all of their deaths stand out.
I guess.
Like, not one of them was a typical, like, oh, yep, he just died. Like, it's shown kind of that way in the fact, like, I think the first death, Dan, like, we see him dying by merging with a motorcycle and all that, but
That's
in reality...
in my notes. That is my favorite death in this movie.
In reality, he just dies because he gets hit by a truck, an oncoming truck.
Still the coolest death, in my opinion. I thought the motorcycle scene was probably the coolest part of this movie.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of my point, though, is that all of their deaths in this movie are creative. And that is the Freddy I'm looking for. I want a creative killer, not the basic, like, oh, yeah, kill. So yeah, that's pretty much the reason why this is my favorite, is because
this is your favorite of all of them so far.
Of all the Freddys we've seen, yes.
Wow, and this is my least favorite one. That's so ironic that we're polar opposite.
Purely because of the fact that we're now getting into not occasional creative Freddy, always creative Freddy.
See, and that's why I think I liked the other ones better, because it was occasional creative Freddy, which is like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. That was awesome. Versus this whole movie was just like, oh, yeah, what weird thing is he going to do this time?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I liked. I liked the weirdness of it.
And see, when I come to slashers, I think of like, Scream and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I like. This movie, again, I like these types of movies, but this one got a little too wacky. You know what I mean?
Not for me.
We're agree to disagree, I guess.
So do you want to go down like your list of notes and just kind of talk about the movie?
I mean, I don't have that many notes. We've already covered most of what I was going to say. I have that's giving us more of a backstory with his mother, which we already mentioned. I mean, the beginning scene is literally her getting raped by 100 men.
Yes. All right, then I'll just go down my list of notes real quick. So the very beginning of the movie was disgusting.
Agreed.
The shower diarrhea thing.
Oh, that's what you meant. I thought for some reason the rape scene was the beginning, but that's right. There's a chick who dies in the shower.
Yeah. There is
Wait, that's Alice, isn't it? Isn't that Alice that's in the shower?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
that's what I thought.
Alice. So the start of this movie is also a lot more erotic than any other.
Yeah, the whole intro of the movie is just like a sex scene.
Yeah, but in a sex scene that is quite odd, because the only body parts you can really discern is a hand reaching out,
some legs,
and a foot going up a leg.
Yeah.
Everything else is either a shoulder, back, some flesh on a body.
They want you to make sure that you understand that they're doing it, but PG-13 style.
And then afterwards, she gets in the shower, and like right when she gets in the shower is when I'm like, or like it starts bubbling up diarrhea. It looks like out of the drain of the shower, and that's when I'm like, okay, I'm getting out of that shower. I'm not gonna reach into that and like, oh, no. If that's a plumbing issue, holy shit, I'm not reaching my hand into that.
Why does it always seem like in horror movies, they always just like, oh, there's something happening in a drain. Let's put my hand in it. Like, what are you doing, man?
Like, I would be, especially considering it looked like shit. I would not be wanting to put my hand in that at all.
And didn't the water start making her boil also?
Yeah, like the whole shower itself like started filling up. She couldn't leave the shower. It was a very weird intro in that respect.
I mean, we basically get Freddy weirdness right off the bat.
Yes. It grossed me out, but hey, I'm here for it. Then I did like the they had Robert Englund, who is Freddy, as one of the insane asylum rapists.
I didn't even notice that.
Really? Because like the camera literally stops on him, zooms in on him.
Oh,
and then
is that
pans
Robert
away.
Englund? I don't know what Robert Englund looks like without all the makeup.
Okay.
I've never seen him in anything else besides these movies.
So the scene where she wakes up and Dan is there like comforting her, and then all of a sudden Dan is replaced with one of the insane asylum people.
Yeah.
That is Robert Englund.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, I've never seen him in anything besides these movies, so I have no clue what he looks like.
I've seen him in a few, like, he'll do cameos and stuff. One of my favorite cameos is he was in the show Bones.
Really?
And he was a janitor at a high school.
Okay.
So, and everyone suspected him of being the murderer in that episode. So,
makes sense.
it was a nice little thing, tie-in kind of thing for him. But, yeah, I like that they had him play one of the insane asylum rapists because, like, I don't know if it was an intentional thing, but to me that kind of like points out that maybe that was the father of Freddy actually.
That makes sense.
Which is why he bears such a striking resemblance to the actor or to that patient rather than the nun. And then I will say I laughed a little when I saw baby Freddy.
Oh, dude, that's in my notes. I have in here that baby Freddy is like insanely creepy.
In my notes it said, okay, so Freddy was born and looked like a pink golem.
Yeah,
from Lord
he
of the
looked
Rings.
creepy as hell, dude.
I will say it's weird that they make it seem like in order for Freddy to return, he has to be reborn in the dreams of people he haunts.
I guess he's like a resurrection kind of thing. It's like a rebirth.
Yeah.
Reincarnation, that's the word I was looking for.
Which I feel really bad for his mom because she's like, I guess she's like the guardian of Freddy because
what a fun job.
yeah. And you said Dan's death was your favorite?
Yeah, the motorcycle scene? Yeah.
Yeah. So watching that scene, and I realize this is like a nightmare situation. So, and in nightmares, you don't always control what you do.
Right.
But at this point, I've thought that like Dan was in control. And after him like just absolutely getting wrecked inside his truck, the last thing I would do is get on a motorcycle.
That is true. I thought that was really silly. Why would you get on a vehicle anyway?
Yeah. Like, at that point, I am calling Alice and being like, babe, I can't come to you. I'm sorry. Freddy is already here.
No, he loves her. He loves her. I'd do anything for her.
Even if you let her, like, you're not going to be able to help her if you're dead.
Nah, he'll figure it out.
Apparently he won't. He did not. I even was like, so in my notes, I'm like, after what happened with his truck, I'm surprised he was so quick to get on the motorcycle. And then the very next dot is like, poor Dan. Because he gets so fucked up.
Speaking of Dan's death, I do like the nod that they did with the guy who hit him was like, I didn't even see him coming. It was a guy dressed up as Freddy with the hat and the sweater and stuff. I was like, I see what you're doing there.
and then having Dan talk to her through, or having Freddy talk to her through Dan. I was like, oh, that's disrespectful, Freddy.
So yeah, in the beginning of the in the beginning of the movie, I'm like, so can Freddy come out of the dream world now? I was very confused on what was
I
happening.
mean, he's always been able to exert some kind of power over reality.
Yeah, but it seems like in the beginning, before we understand why, but it seems like he could literally like manipulate the waking world at that point.
Yeah, well, yeah. So from where I'm going, from my perspective, it's basically just Freddy getting more and more powerful. Even when they think he's dead, it's almost as if he's just kind of gone into hiding, Voldemort style, and is just biding his time.
Freddy's gonna show up on back of somebody's head.
I mean, possibly.
I mean, he kind of does at the end of this movie.
Yeah. And then right after the death of Dan, I will say yet another horrible parent is shown in this movie, and yet again, it's a mother.
Which parent?
Greta's mom.
Greta. Greta is the chick.
Greta is the model. The
one who's like, she's offering you a really good opportunity. Why aren't you like taking it?
Yeah, and she's like, my friend just died, Mom. Like, can you maybe let me grieve for a second?
Yeah. So Greta's death is the stupidest death, in my opinion.
It is weird. It is definitely the weirdest of them.
I thought it was kind of funny what he was doing to her, but the way he killed her was really stupid.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I will say, I absolutely despised her room.
Oh, I made a
full of
note of
dolls.
that. I made a note of that. I go, Nate is going to absolutely hate this scene.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's creepy. That, like,
And they
I feel
even
like
had
that's
a doll-
creepy even to
They even had a
someone
doll.
who's.
So good.
No, I was just saying, I feel like that's a creepy room even to someone who's not, like, creeped out by dolls.
Yeah, they even had a doll that like fell over and shattered.
Yeah, like, it was the creepiest room. And honestly, the creepiest moment in the whole movie for me.
I was really expecting the doll to turn its head and turn into Freddy.
Yeah, actually, me too. I kept expecting one of the dolls to do something.
Doll
like,
turns and it's just like, goo goo gaga, bitch!
yeah. Instead, we get her being stuffed with food. And then choking on said food right in front of her mother, who's just, like, laughing with the guests. Like,
Haha,
okay.
my daughter's floating in the air. Like, what the
Yeah. Horrible, horrible mother. Yet again.
Oh, that's not the only horrible mother in this movie.
No, you are correct. Dan's mom isn't the greatest
Yeah,
either.
that's what I thought of. When you said horrible mother, that's who I thought you were talking about at first.
Oh, yeah. No, Dan's mom, like, on one hand, I get where they're coming from, because if your son has an unborn child and the mother is seemingly coming unhinged,
Someone's chasing me in my dreams! Okay, lady.
yeah, like, on one hand, I completely understand where they're coming from, but they could have handled it a hell of a lot better than being like, hey, we're going to take your kid away from you.
Even if we have to
Like-
do through the courts.
Yeah, like, maybe try a little tact, considering, yeah, your son died, but it was also the man that she loved and the father of her child. Like, come on. So yeah, wasn't too happy. It almost felt like the dad was kind of regretting. He's like, we're not the good guys in this. Damn.
Now, I have a question about Alice's dad. I thought Alice's dad knew about Freddy from the last movie. Am I wrong?
Alice's dad did, but also, like all parents, in denial.
Ah.
Like,
Like in the
It
second
seemed-
movie when the toaster caught on fire and
and
it
he
was
had-
like, huh, that's weird.
must have been my son.
My son is making things automatically combust. Weird.
Yeah. Like also he was like constantly drunk back
That's
then
true.
as well. So
That is
it
true.
is also highly possible he doesn't know about Freddy because he was in such a drunken stupor he doesn't remember.
Or, oh man,
Um
I saw some weird stuff. Must have been the alcohol talking.
yeah. But also he is probably one of the better parents we see in this because
And the whole
at
franchise.
this point yeah, because at this point, like he's sober and he is actively trying to support his daughter in whatever decision she makes. Oh, a maniac is chasing you through your dreams? You know what? I don't understand it, but it's enough that you believe it, darling. Let's do this. Like I'll help you out. And I'm like, way to go, Dad. Like you're actually a decent father in this.
Instead of it being like, you have a great opportunity, why aren't you seizing it?
Yeah. And then we get to my favorite character, death, and Dream Warrior all in one.
Yeah, I knew this was coming.
Mark.
The comic book nerd.
Yes. First off, I like his character. He's an interesting character. He's the comic relief of the group. Love his Dream Warrior state, which is yet again another thing. Like they keep tying in little aspects of the third movie because that the Dream Warriors, and we'll get like little personas of some of the characters, but not all of them. His is my favorite Dream Warrior persona so far because he's a dual-wielding pistol comic book character.
Even more than the wizard who died immediately in the third movie?
No. So, the wizard who died immediately is the one who had the most wasted potential.
True.
As a Dream Warrior. Because in the whole franchise, I think the very next one, actually, the nerdy girl who dies in class, she also had a lot of potential, but we never see a Dream Warrior aspect. It was just a wasted potential of a character.
Yeah.
The wizard was just wasted potential as a Dream Warrior. You're a wizard. You can do whatever the hell you want in the dream. He knows how to do this.
Dead.
And then, yeah, instantly dead. People who have had, like, who don't even realize what Dream Warriors are able to do more than was able to do. Which, it hurts. This one, I love the cartoon reality or nightmare realm that Mark goes to. I love the fact that he becomes a comic book hero and then Freddy becomes a comic book villain, Bizarro of sorts. And it just was overall really cool. Even his death, like, again, we see the dream version of their death and then the reality of said death. The dream version of his death is him becoming a comic book page and being torn up. And I'm just like, you know what? That makes total sense, especially considering Freddy has blades for hand.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That was my favorite character, Dream Warrior, and death in the movie.
Yeah, the way he died was crazy.
Yeah, and then, yeah, she wakes up and all of the stuff had fallen on him and killed him.
And of course the adults are just like, oh, yeah, he,
Yeah,
just
you're lucky
fell on
you're alive, lady. That place
Yeah.
was unstable as hell.
No,
Which-
he was slashed in the gut. No, it's fine. It just fell on him, that's all.
Yeah. I will say, I do agree with the ambulance dude, though, because that place did look shaky as fuck.
Yeah, it was kind of a death trap.
Would not take a pregnant woman there at all.
Just sleep on my bed, it's fine.
I would have, like, at least had her... First off, we never see Mark's family or Yvonne's family.
No?
I would have had her go with Yvonne instead of Mark's home, because Mark's home, like we've said, is a death trap.
Yvonne is the chick with the swimming chick, right?
Yes, Yvonne is the doubter. She
Yeah,
is the
she's
one
the one
who
she
just...
didn't believe him at first.
Yeah, it literally takes Freddy trying to kill her to get her to realize, oh shit, they're right. Okay. I will say the scene before she believes him or believes in Freddy, where Mark has compiled all of this work and paper. He's like, read this, you'll believe if you read this.
Slap.
And she's just like, I ain't got time for this shit, and knocks it out of his hands. And I'm like, that is incredibly rude. If you don't believe it, okay, you can just kind of step to the side and walk out. She made an effort to knock it out of his hands and spread all that stuff. I'm like, damn, that's just fucked up.
Yeah, I ain't dealing with your shit right now.
Yeah. And then yeah, poor Mark. That sucked.
So that brings us to the last, not death, because she didn't die, and that is the swimming chick, Yvonne, or whatever you said her name was.
Yes, Yvonne, who, yeah, she didn't die. She is one of the survivors.
Yep.
And really, like, she didn't really have much to do in the movie other than to be the doubter of the movie.
To be a whiny bitch the entire movie.
Not really whiny even. It was more just...
She's annoying.
She was just the doubtful one. She did not believe at all until it actually happened to her. Oh, we forgot Jacob.
Oh, yeah. So, am I the only one who, as soon as that little boy showed up in the hospital room, immediately knew that was her son?
No, I actually thought it was Freddy playing a trick on her.
No. As soon as she goes, he said something like, I'm here to make sure you're okay. I was like, oh, that's 100% her kid.
Yeah, no, I did not get that until after they're like, oh, that's her kid. I'm like, oh, well, that's an interesting development. Okay.
Nah, I can't believe you didn't immediately pick up on that.
Especially the reason I didn't even, first off, I thought Jacob was either a real child in the hospital because Yvonne mentions talks about Jacob. When Alice asks her, like, hey, do you know about this kid Jacob? Yvonne's like, oh yeah, he's such a sad little boy.
No.
I'm like,
no. I'm pretty
did I mishear that or something?
Yeah, it was, Yvonne was saying that there was no children in the hospital at all. And there's no children ward, and the one who's saying he looked like a sad little boy was Alice.
Oh, okay. Then I must have misheard it then.
Yeah, because I'm like, that's why I was immediately like, oh yeah, that's her child. Because all of a sudden there's nobody else could see that little boy besides her.
And that's the reason I didn't think about him being her child, because I thought Yvonne had seen him.
Well, as soon as I heard that she was pregnant, I see the theme of the movie. Because what's the actual title of this movie called? Isn't it called like The Cursed Child or something like that?
The Dream Child.
Dream Child, yes. So as soon as that very first scene of Freddy being born as a baby little demon, and then she announces she's pregnant, I go, oh, I see what we're doing here. So Freddy's going to try to become that baby and like emerge himself into the world. Which he kind of was trying to do. And then the little boy showed up, was like, I'm making sure you're okay. I go, oh, that's her child. Because that's the theme of the movie.
I like the fact that at the end of the movie, the nun turns to Jacob and is basically teaching an unborn child to fight evil with evil in order to defeat her own demon.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the ending scene with the nun. What the what the fuck was that about? Like, she's like, don't come near me. I have to hold him back. And then like all these doors are exploding until it finally shuts.
Yeah, so the way I interpret it, anyway, is at the beginning of the movie, Freddy is born again through the dreams of Alice and her son, Jacob.
Right.
Quite literally, because we see him being born from his mother. It feels like his mom is acting as the guardian seal on him. Like, she's trying to keep him contained within her. And And so when she absorbs baby Freddy once more, she's like, don't come here anymore. You have the power to bring him back. You need to stay away. And so, like, she's shutting all of these dream doors, trying to keep Freddy from escaping. And Freddy's so powerful at this point, he's destroying them all until the very last one, which closes, and she seems to be sealed.
But we all know
that was my take on it.
We all know that's not true because look at the very end of the movie when they're all having their little picnic and everything's fine, and then those little girls are doing the like 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh god, here we go.
When they were doing that, like everything was all sunshine and roses. I was like, okay, what's going to happen to show that this is not good? This isn't actually nice. And fully expected the blanket to like wrap them up and kill them or something.
Oh, not the baby.
Yeah, because the blanket it wasn't the same. It was the same color as Freddy's sweater.
I didn't even notice that.
But it wasn't the same pattern. It was a more plaid pattern rather than just stripes. So I was like, I mean, everything we've seen so far with Freddy taking on the shape of something has been the same style, stripes, not plaid. So I was like, okay, maybe that's not Freddy. But then all of a sudden I see the little girls doing the 3, 4 crap. I'm like, oh, never mind. It's not the blanket. It's just creepy ass little girls again. So yeah, obviously Freddy is not completely contained. I fully believe that when Freddy merged with Alice once more and she like fought him off, and then Jacob became a little mini Freddy, which fucking that has got to be some nightmare fuel for seeing her son turn into a miniature Freddy.
No, she seemed pretty cool about it. It was pretty fine.
Yeah. I imagine like as he gets older, she's going to have nightmares of him being mini Freddy, which is just going to bring real Freddy back again. But yeah, and that I feel like Freddy is still in a little bit of Freddy at least is within Jacob. So and that's why we see the little girls.
Do you think that these characters will come back in the next movie?
I want to say yes, but also I'm not sure because it wouldn't be. I know we are eventually going to get to the Nightmare reboot. I don't know when that is.
So the next movie is the final movie out of this little saga, and it's called Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare.
Oh, then yeah, I feel like at least some of the characters are going to come back.
Have Freddy versus Jason, and then we have the reboot. I think those are the only 3 we have left.
Okay.
I think. I could be wrong. Commenters, comment your crap, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay.
Because the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot was in 2010. The next movie is in 1991, and then the Freddy versus Jason was in like 94 or something like that.
Then yes, I would say that we're probably going to see at least like I feel like we have to see Jacob come back.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be a grown-up Jacob.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So apparently Freddy vs. Jason came out in 2003.
Okay.
So if 1991 was the last time we saw Freddy, and then we don't see it again for 2003, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's all I got on this movie. Anything else you gotta mention or anything like that?
So what would your overall rating be on a 5 scale?
Out of 5, I will give this a 2.5. Like I said, this is my least favorite Freddy movie.
And I will give it a 4.
Wow, it's getting a 4.
Yep.
There's only 2 of these I gave a 4. The original one and Dream Warriors, and I think Dream Warriors is my favorite.
I think the majority of them are like 3 to 3.5 for me.
That's about where I have every one of them. This is the first one that's gotten below 3. So I don't know. We'll see how the Final Nightmare shows up.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. If we got nothing else, if you guys enjoyed this video, this podcast, make sure you hit a like and subscribe on the YouTubes. And if you guys have any opinions on these movies and you want to put them down in the comments below, go ahead and do that. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.